Hey guys, welcome back to the Crochet with Kelsey channel. I have a super fun video planned for us today where I'm going to be ranking yarns for Amigurumi in tiers based on my personal experience. So let's get into it. Today I'm going to be ranking 4 different categories of yarn that's commonly used for Amigurumi, which includes fluffy yarn, chenille yarn, blanket yarn, and other smaller yarns. So the first category is fluffy. So the first yarn we have here is Feels Like Bliss. So Feels Like Bliss is from Lion's brand. It's a pretty thin yarn that makes small plushies. I love this yarn because the finished plushies with it look amazing, but unfortunately I don't love working with it. It is very slippery on the hook, especially if you're using a metal or resin hook. Maybe it would be a little bit better with a wood hook, but it's just a little hard to work with, and it's also stretchy. So it has like some elastic in it, I think. But honestly, the finished plushies that are made with it are so cute that it's worth the struggle. So I'm gonna rank Feels Like Bliss in the B tier. The next yarn we have here is Bernay Pipsqueak. Now this yarn makes some super cute plushies, but unfortunately it's not super soft to the touch. It's a little bit rough, and it's almost impossible to see your stitches whenever you're working with this yarn. So it kind of gives your plushies a shaggy look, which is super cute, but whenever you see something fluffy, you want to touch it, and whenever you touch it, it's just not that soft. It also squeaks whenever you're crocheting with it. It squeaks on the hook, which is my #1 pet peeve. Even though it makes cute plushies, I do not like working with it at all, and I've made one plushie with it and I've never touched it again. So that's why I'm gonna rank Bernay Pipsqueak in the D tier. Sorry. The next yarn we have here is Kesh Fluffy. As you can see, this is a fluffy yarn. It's one-stranded, so it's easy to crochet with. You don't have to actually unravel the yarn in order to not crochet a huge project. So I love this brand. They're super cool, and you know, they're very interactive on social media and stuff, and when I make something with their yarn and I tag them, they always repost it and comment on it. So they're just a really good company, and I love their yarns. But most importantly, they make super cute plushies, and the yarn is extremely soft, unlike the Pipsqueak yarn that I just showed. And it's actually super easy to crochet with because you can see the actual strand, and it is kind of darker than the rest of the yarn, so it's very easy to find your stitches. So that's why I'm gonna put Kesh Fluffy in the A tier. Okay guys, Tro Yarn Fluffy. I didn't have a new skein to show, but I do have some of it right here. As you can see, it is very fluffy. It is extremely soft. And whenever you look at the actual yarn itself, there's a very thick strand, so that makes it super easy to see your stitches. When people are starting off working with fluffy yarn, I always recommend this yarn because not only are the plushies super cute with it, but you can actually see your stitches. You don't have to like feel around a lot, and it's just my overall favorite fluffy yarn because of how cute the plushies turn out. So for reference, this is one of the plushies that I've made with Tro Yarn Fluffy, and I mean, it just, look how fluffy it is. It doesn't even look like it's crocheted, which is kind of fun sometimes. And the fact that it's super easy to work with and you can get a plushie that looks as fluffy and cute as this, it's the S tier for me. Now we have Big Twist favorite faux yarn, and I wanted to include some Big Twist yarns in here. I have heard rumors that Hirschner's is buying them. I'm not sure exactly what yarns they'll actually acquire though, so I just wanted to include it just in case, and if you were thinking about buying some of this, if Big Twist is saved. So this yarn is kind of like my nightmare yarn because it comes triple stranded, which means if you want the yarn to be this big and not triple this size, you actually have to unravel it yourself. And I posted a reel around Christmas time where I bought 2 skeins of this yarn and I brought them to my family Christmas party, and we had some games where I made them untangle the skeins, and it took probably like an hour. We did teams of 3 and I thought it was going to be really easy to kind of like unbraid it, but that was not the case, and still to this day it's not all unraveled because one of the teams gave up. But that's okay, and I kind of feel bad for putting them through that, but I thought it would be quick, easy, fun, and then I have my yarn single-stranded like I wanted it. But I mean, it's cute, but compared to Kesh Fluffy and Tro Yarn Fluffy, this is not as soft at all, but it does give more of that like natural fur look, I suppose. It just depends on what kind of look you're going for. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to put this in the C tier. We have Premier Yarns Little Bunny yarn here, and this is my yarn that I started getting into crocheting fluffy projects with. Similar to Tro Yarn Fluffy, it's very easy to see your stitches, and this yarn also doesn't have as long of strands for the fluff, so it is much easier to crochet with. It's more similar to crocheting with regular yarn. But if you're thinking about starting to crochet with fluffy yarn and you want kind of like a tester yarn, a beginner yarn, I would definitely recommend this Little Bunny. And it's super soft. Even though the end products don't look as fluffy, it's still a really great yarn, and it does make super cute plushies. So for example, I made my Orion plushie in this yarn. The blue and the purple are Little Bunny, but as you can see, compared to this guy, it just isn't as fluffy. But that's okay, it just depends on your preference, and if you're going for a fuzzy rather than fluffy look, I would highly recommend Little Bunny from Premier Yarns. I love it, and it's going in the A tier. So this is a yarn that they sell on Amazon. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Should I try? Niceek? I don't know how to pronounce it, but anyway, this yarn comes in very small skeins, but they usually come in like a 2-pack, so if you just need it for a smaller project, it's honestly the perfect amount. And this yarn is single-stranded. This one is great because if you don't want to unravel the 3-stranded faux fur yarns, then you don't have to with this Niceek faux fur yarn. And this yarn also comes in a million different colors, and it's sold on Amazon, so if you need it quickly, you can get that 2-day delivery, and it is Prime eligible. It's also like a million times softer than the Big Twist faux fur yarn, so I would highly recommend it, but it can be a little bit difficult to work with just because the strands of fur, so that's why I'm gonna put it in the B tier. I know that Elise Softy Plus isn't really a fluffy yarn, but I didn't really know what other category to put it in, so I'm putting it in the fluffy yarn category. So I recently used this yarn for the first time, and let me just tell you, it is amazing to work with. It's more like plush than it is fluffy, but as you can see, it has like a super nice texture going on. And just to kind of show you, here's what the finished plushies look like with that. It kind of hides the stitches more than like a chenille yarn would, but I don't know, it just overall has a really cute look, and it's super soft, and it's a dream to work with. It also comes in a ton of different colors, which is great. You can use it for all your projects. I think this would be great for winter clothing. I think it would be great for plushies, obviously. Blankets, I think that really, you can do anything with this yarn. If you haven't tried this yarn yet, you absolutely need to. You need this yarn in your life. You need every color of it, and that's why I'm putting it in the S tier. So now it's time to rank our next category, which is chenille yarn. Personally, chenille yarn is my favorite. I know a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with it, but it's what I started out my Amigurumi journey with, so it has a special place in my heart. So I'm going to group Sweet Snuggles Light and Chenille Home Slim, which are both from Loops and Threads, in the same category because they're extremely similar. They just have really different color palettes. I think this is enough to show you that I don't like this yarn at all. This yarn sheds a lot. I'm barely putting any effort into this, and I'm just lightly kind of pulling my fingers against it, and that is what it looks like whenever you try to sew with this yarn. I will say that whenever you make a plushie with this, it turns out a pretty good size, so that's one thing I like about it. It is really soft and plush, but unfortunately, whenever it starts to look like this, it's literally impossible to work with. So I know people either love this yarn or they hate it, but unfortunately I hate it. I've only bought 2 skeins ever, and I don't plan on buying any more. As you can tell, I have barely even touched this, and this is one of the 2 skeins. I wish this yarn was good so bad, because it would be so easy to go to Michael's and get it, even though they've taken it out of the stores and off the website, and I'm hoping that that's for quality reasons and they're trying to get their ish together before putting it back in stores, because some of the skeins, whenever you look at them in the store, they're just already torn up. Like, they already look like that, which is crazy. But unfortunately, until they can make better yarn, I'm gonna rank this in the D tier. Premier Yarns Parfait Chunky. Everyone knows about Parfait Chunky. I feel like this is maybe the most popular chenille yarn on the market. And whenever I started my crochet journey, this is the first yarn that I ever used. I have a love-hate relationship with it. Now, I do love the way the finished plushies look with it, but unfortunately, it sheds terribly whenever you're trying to sew with it. And that is my #1 pet peeve as a Amigurumi artist, is whenever you're not able to sew your pieces on with the same yarn that you crocheted your piece with. I will say Parfait Chunky has an amazing color range, and I have a ton of it because it's just easy to get more of it whenever it runs out, because you have all the other colors. But within the last couple of years, I've noticed a lot of quality issues with it. You'll get some skeins that are nice and fluffy. This is actually a pretty good one that I have right here. But some skeins are super thin. It's like all the yarn is different weights almost, and I just wish they would fix their quality issues. If Parfait Chunky could go back to the quality that they used to have, then I would be ranking this higher. But since you just never know what the quality of your skein is going to be, some of them are like rough and squeaky on the hook, some of them are super soft and plush. So because of the quality issues with it, I'm going to have to rank it in the C tier. Up next, we have Himalaya Dolphin Baby. First of all, I think this kid that's on their little packaging for it is so funny. He just looks so sassy, doesn't he? But Himalaya Dolphin Baby has a ton of colors. The price point is a little more expensive than Parfait Chunky, especially because it's not super easy to get in the US. It comes from Turkey, so the shipping is a little more expensive, but to me it's worth it because in my mind, Himalaya Dolphin Baby is kind of what Parfait Chunky should be. The quality is always the same, although it is a little difficult to sew with at times because of the shedding issues. It doesn't shed nearly as much as the other 2 chenille yarns. Dare I say this is my favorite chenille yarn? It's definitely one of them, and I just love all the colors that are available. You can also use it with Parfait Chunky if you have a lot of it and you're trying to kind of filter it out, but I love the way that the plushies look with this yarn. It's a lot softer than Parfait Chunky is, so that is why I'm rating this in the A tier. Up next, we have a really good chenille yarn from Zaddy's Crafts. This yarn, unlike any other chenille yarn, does not shed at all. This is my dream yarn. I love it so much. If I had to compare this yarn to something else, I would say it's a little bit like Posh and Baby Bear, but it's super thick. Like, it's nice and it's thick and it's sturdy and it doesn't shed and it's extremely soft. Like, honestly, this is everything that I want in a chenille yarn, so I'm ranking it in the S tier. Bloom Chenille from Premier Yarns. So this yarn has a cute little floral pattern on it whenever you crochet with it, and it's super soft and the plushies look super cute, but this yarn sheds so bad and I never want to use it again. So unfortunately, Bloom Chenille is going in the D tier. Kesh Velvet. I absolutely love this yarn. It is slightly thinner than Himalaya Dolphin Baby or Parfait Chunky, but it's kind of similar in weight to like a Baby Bear. And overall, it is very similar to Baby Bear in general, and I know that it's a velvet yarn, but it feels more like a chenille, so that's why I'm ranking it in this category. This yarn comes in a great variety of colors. The plushies turn out so cute, and it doesn't shed nearly as bad as Parfait Chunky or Sweet Snuggles Lie or Bloom Chenille. You can also order this yarn off of Amazon, so it's very accessible, and I would rank this in the A tier. Hobie Toucan. This yarn is probably one of my least favorite yarns I've ever used. It sheds really bad and it almost has a waxy texture. It's not soft at all, it squeaks on the hook and it sheds, and I really can't think of any quality that it has that I actually like to see in my yarn. So unfortunately, Toucan is going in the D tier. Last but not least, for the chenille category, we have Just Chenille from Premier Yarns. I've only bought this yarn from the Dollar Tree, so I'm not sure if the quality is any different if you get it off their website. As you can see, it's just $125, and no wonder, because this yarn is so thin. It's so thin and it sheds terribly. It almost has like a velvety feel, even though it says it's chenille. Unfortunately, because of the quality issues that I faced with this yarn, I'm going to rank it in the D tier. Now we're gonna transition into the blanket type yarns, and blanket yarn is something you either hate or you love. And unfortunately, I'm not the biggest fan of blanket yarn just because it really hurts my hands to crochet with it. Something about the big hook, how much you have to move your arm, it's not very fun for me. So keep that in mind as I rank these, because if you're a blanket yarn fan, you might rank them differently. So first we have the classic Bernay blanket yarn, and this yarn is super soft, but sometimes the quality is so different on skeins that you never know if you're gonna get a soft one or if you're gonna get a rougher one, which is especially frustrating if you're ordering it online. And although I like how big plushies turn out with blanket versus like a chenille yarn, Bernay blanket yarn also has like a million different colors, which is awesome. Sometimes I get the ick whenever I'm crocheting with this yarn. I don't know what it is about it, but something is off. It's just a weird texture for me. But unfortunately, since they have some weird quality issues, I'm going to rank Bernay blanket in the C tier. So up next we have Premier Basic Chenille Brights, and although they say this is a chenille yarn, it's more of a blanket yarn. So it is not as thick as the Bernay blanket, it's a little bit thinner. It's very soft. It is a texture that I enjoy a lot more than the Bernay blanket. I love using this yarn from time to time because the plushies come out so much bigger than if you used a different yarn, and this one for some reason isn't as rough on my hands and my arms. And they also just released a ton of new colors. This is probably my favorite Premier Yarns yarn. So I'm gonna rank this in the A tier. Next up, we've got Big Twist Plush. I love Big Twist Plush. I like the feeling of it a lot more. I love the different colors that they have. For some reason, I enjoy this one a lot more than I enjoy the Bernay blanket yarn. And I feel like with this yarn, I haven't noticed any quality issues with it. And in my personal experience, every skein that I've gotten of Big Twist Plush feels the same to me. So I'm gonna rank Big Twist Plush in the B tier. So our last and final category is the smaller yarns. Up first we have Posh. I didn't really know what category to put this in because it's not really blanket, it's not really chenille, so I'm putting it in the smaller yarns category. Big Twist Posh kind of has like a blanket yarn texture if you haven't used it. And the number one thing that I absolutely love about this yarn is that it doesn't shed. This yarn shows the stitches extremely well whenever you're crocheting, so if that's the look you're going for, then this is a good yarn, and hopefully Hirschner's acquires the Big Twist brand and brings this yarn back, because I really do enjoy working with it. They also have such an amazing variety of colors, and I really don't want to say goodbye to this yarn forever. So I'm putting Big Twist Posh in the A tier. Big Twist Baby Bear. This yarn had a chokehold on me from the first time that I ever used it, and now I am just savoring what I have left while it lasts. Please, 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 Hirschners, I would do anything for you to sell Big Twist Baby Bear. The color palette is amazing. Unlike Posh, it kind of has this nice sheen that's similar to Chenille yarn. It's just a beautiful yarn. The plushies turn out so amazingly cute. It's the best yarn to work with. It's easy to sew with. It's easy to do everything with. I just love Baby Bear so much. Like, one of my favorite yarns of all time. So I'm gonna rank this in the S tier. Bernay Baby Velvet yarn. So I have mixed feelings about this yarn. Whenever I need a smaller yarn, it's okay to work with, but it's really not soft at all. It's more like almost like a waxy texture, which just isn't really nice to work with, especially for a long time. If you like that velvety look though, I mean, it's velvet, so it's gonna give you that sheen. This is one of my favorite projects that I've made with it, my little Dragon Buddy bookmark, and it's great for smaller projects if you're not working with it for a really long time, but after a while, the squeaking of the hook and the waxy feel of it kind of give me the ick. So that's why I'm putting Bernay Baby Velvet in the C tier. Loops and Threads Skinny Chenille. This is Loops and Threads Skinny Chenille. I will say the skeins of this are absolutely massive, and they're $10 when they're not on sale, so you get a ton of yarn for what you're paying for. My only qualm with this yarn is that I feel like it's not Chenille. Like, it's not super soft. It just doesn't have that feeling. It's almost more like a mini blanket yarn consistency. On the bright side, it doesn't shed a lot, but normally whenever I'm working with Chenille yarn, I want to see that beautiful sheen that it has, and this one really doesn't have that. So I don't even know if it's Chenille yarn or not. It does make super cute little teensy tiny plushies, and I do like working with it. It doesn't give me the ick, it doesn't shed, it doesn't give me the ick, it doesn't shed a lot, so I'm gonna put this in the B tier. Loops and Threads Petite Pearl yarn. I love the color palette of this yarn so much. They have the best colors. This yarn is almost like a velvety texture, but unlike the Bernay Baby Velvet yarn, this one is soft. It's as if you had a velvet pillow and you can just feel the softness that it offers. It's not really waxy or anything, and it's super thin and it's super easy to work with. It doesn't shed at all. This yarn is a dream, and this is almost a full skein of it, so you can see what I'm talking about, that the skeins are absolutely huge. You definitely get your money's worth with this yarn. Everything you make with it is super small and cute. I actually made my new mythical bookmark buddies all in this yarn type. So here's kind of a little preview of what their color palette looks like, and they have a few more colors as well. So I definitely love this yarn for making smaller projects, and that's why it's going in the S tier. Last but not least, we have this Pixie Dust Brights from Premier Yarns. So as you can tell, it has like sparkles incorporated into it, and this yarn makes super cute plushies. It's easy to crochet with. The fuzz on it isn't very tall, so you can definitely see your stitches very easily. But the one qualm I have with this yarn is that it like burns your hand. You know, whenever you're crocheting and your yarn goes over your finger, it hurts whenever you're crocheting because the sparkles are kind of sharp. So for that reason and that reason only, I am ranking this yarn in the C tier. Thank you so much for watching this video where I ranked 25 different yarn types. I hope you found it useful, maybe even found a yarn that you didn't know about before that you want to try now. I know some of my opinions are probably controversial and you feel a completely different way, but I'd love to hear your comments on the yarns that I reviewed today. If you think I'm wrong, if you think I'm right. I'm just interested to know where my rankings kind of stand with everyone else's. So please be sure to like and subscribe and let me know if you liked this video. I'll see you guys next time.